Bone, joint, and muscle injuries, they can happen without warning. That's why UPMC Orthopedic Care provides convenient walk-in access at our injury clinics throughout the region. No appointments are needed, just walk in for expert evaluation and exceptional care by our team of orthopedic specialists. Clinics are located in Carlisle, Lidditz, Harrisburg, and Enola. For directions and hours or to learn more, visit upmc.com/injuryclinic.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Pennsylvania High School Football Report podcast. I am Brian Linder, here with Rymir Vaughn. Rymir, let them hear your voice, my man.
Good morning, afternoon, night, whenever you're listening.
Evan Wheaton, let them hear your voice.
Good afternoon, evening, I don't know. It's 4 o'clock, so.
So we were having some technical difficulties, guys, and for a while there, Megan couldn't hear us, our producer, Megan, so we were going to open up this podcast by just talking a bunch of trash about her. Unfortunately, she can now hear us, so we'll save that one for another podcast, maybe when she goes away to Alabama or England, or she's a world traveler. Arkansas, she's going to Arkansas this week. So you wouldn't know. Megan doesn't have that accent, but you know she explained that before. But she's from down in the woods somewhere, and from southern areas. Alabama, Arkansas, those states.
Down in the woods.
But then she ends up in England sometimes. She's
crazy,
world
very diverse.
Guys.
Yeah. Fun fact: my sister lives in England.
How did that happen?
How did I end up with a sister? Or how did she end up in England? Oh, because
Well, I mean, we can go into details about how you ended up
on
the podcast. I mean, I think everybody knows how that happened, but how she
High School Football Report After Dark.
Oh, man.
How'd she end up in England?
So she's an actress. She does like theater and whatnot. So she does like a lot of like theater and stuff over in England. It's pretty cool. So I definitely want to go to England at some point. Maybe I'll catch a Pats England game in London.
You never told us that.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
The more you know.
That's pretty cool. How long has she been doing that?
Oh, years and years and years and years. She's been over there for a long time now. So I only get to see her like a couple times a year.
Oh, that's kind of sad, actually.
Oh, it's all right. I mean, like, definitely want to. It makes me want to like. That's a good reason to like visit London. That'd be cool to do that. That's on my bucket list.
Hey man, you see the headset here?
Yeah, Brian's wearing. So you guys can't see this, but Brian's wearing a pretty interesting headset. It looks like a gaming headset.
It is. I've been sitting here since Monday night when Rymir said he was going to play me.
Here we go.
Man,
here we go. I had a rough Monday. All right, I had a rough Monday.
Riding around buying new cars. You know,
it was everything in between.
He beats Brian.
A new car.
He beats Brian one time and ends up with a new car. What's going on with that?
Yeah, did you get a new car?
Yes, I did.
What did you get again? Did you get what you were aiming at? Did you get the Altima?
No, I got actually something new. I got a 2024 Honda Civic.
Oh, there you go. See, now I like that. I like that move, getting the new car.
Yeah.
Getting warranty on it?
It was a lot more. Of course, yeah. I financed it too. So it was the payment for this one is more expensive than the Altima, but they was trying to charge me like $330 for the Altima, and I was like, that car is
can't let them finesse you. You got to be the finesser.
Yeah, always.
All right, well that's good. You'll have to send us a picture of that or something.
Oh yeah, I will.
And our
I
group
got you.
text, man, because I want to see what you're riding in now, man.
I got you. I'm gonna send it.
Just got to be careful of the Pennsylvania deer. You know, you're getting out to these games late at night. You write your story, you're driving back. Got to watch out. The deer mob around hard.
I swear we're going to talk about high school football, but now you brought this up. You know, my wife had a black bear last year.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing that happened. Your wife crashed into a black bear.
3 in the morning, too.
At 3 in the morning.
She was going to
Wait. A what?
She got a black bear. She was going like 70 miles an hour. She got up in the morning. She was going to go to South Carolina. I was staying here. So she'll get up like at 3 o'clock in the morning and take off. And if she does that, you beat the traffic and you get a good jump. You'll be in South Carolina by, lunchtime, right? And man, he left here at 3, kissed her goodbye, and went back to sleep. And like 4 o'clock, my phone's just ringing off the hook. I had to hop in the ride and go to Maryland and pick her up. And
Oh man,
she killed a giant black bear. It ran out in front of her.
jeez.
It was massive.
I'm glad she's okay.
Just massive. So, well, how about high school football? We can get to some high school football. I will say, I always watch my guy Micah Parsons, who we have a good relationship with here. He didn't play against the Steelers. I was actually saying that's the first time. He missed a game due to COVID, but that's the first time I can remember Micah Parsons missing a game due to injury. So that's something to watch. And plus,
At like any level of football too.
yeah, well, I
mean,
never
like
saw
high
the
school,
guy go
college.
down and not get up. I mean, there was
Yeah.
one time, and it was basketball. It was his last basketball game he ever played after football season, his senior year, and he kind of twisted his ankle. And because it wasn't really because he couldn't go back out there, it's because he was getting ready to go to Penn State anyway, right before Christmas. So they kind of just pulled him out of the game. But yeah, I never seen the guy even go down. So I know he's banged up, man. If he ain't playing, Dallas has got a mess. I don't know. I mean, they beat the Steelers, but
Their schedule's hard too.
yeah. Well, they just got to Dak. I'm not. Dak, I didn't feel like he had the game winning throw, but I don't feel like he played well. And their defense, man, up the middle stuff. So I don't know. They got the PA guy, one of our PA guys. It's gonna be interesting to watch, see how this turns out for Mike. He's in the big year too, where he's up for a big contract.
Yeah, he's in a contract year, and sure he'll hopefully be back next week.
They got some more news that we talked about, and it's kind of been out there, but really talked to him over the last week is Big 33. Matt Ortega from Coatesville will be coaching the Big 33 team this year. That will make him the first minority coach. And, they've had 67 years of the Big 33 and have never had a minority coach. He'll be the first minority coach. And like I was saying, I said on Penzone, and I've said it on here before, guys, it wasn't just 0 for 67. Probably the first, 20, 25 years they played cross state, east, west. So it's probably more closer to like, they were 0 for like 100 maybe.
Yeah.
So now Matt Ortega, that'll be after, as we're in the home stretch of the season already, which is kind of crazy. After the season, Matt Ortega will be the Big 33 coach. So that's historic news there.
Historic news, and certainly it's going to be, give it a few months, it'll be the center of conversation once we get to, the spring. Big comes time to plan Big 33 coverage. It'll obviously be a big topic of conversation.
I'll tell you guys another note. Rymir Vaughn. Rymir was at the Susquehanna Township game Friday.
Yes.
The helicopter landed, right?
I didn't see that. Where was this?
Franklin, James Franklin, man.
Oh, man. See, I must not be with the times. I didn't see the helicopter if
That's
there
how he
was
got
one.
there.
But
He started off the day, guys. He started off that Friday night in Altoona, where Messiah Mickens, Harrisburg, running back, ran for 3 touchdowns. Had his best game of the season, probably rushing 130 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then he was there. He landed there on a helicopter, and then he ended up at your game. You did see James Franklin at your game,
yeah.
and then we seen the next day against UCLA. Lex Cyrus was there at the Penn State game. And so it looks like, guys, the South Carolina commit Lex Cyrus. Now, Lex has not given us any indication, right, that he's wavering on South Carolina, but it certainly looks like Penn State's putting the full court press on him, right?
Yeah, and shout out Penn State reporter Max Ralph getting a super clutch video of James Franklin and Lex Cyrus dapping each other up. Both were smiling ear to ear. You never know until pen meets paper. Penn State's not giving up on Lex Cyrus, and if you think they need receivers, that's one heck of a receiver in Cyrus.
More big news this week, too, guys. Well, right back to Lex real quick. I know Rymir, you're the new guy in town for us, but I know Lex has been one of the guys you've loved. What makes
Hmm.
him special for people around the state who haven't seen him? The kid won a 100-meter track state championship
Yeah.
a couple years ago. I don't think he won it last year, but you know what makes him special in your eyes, Ramir? Because I know you like him a lot.
I think what people get so caught up with him on is the speed, but it's not just the speed; it's the burst and acceleration and the short area quickness. He's not just straight line speed, like his side to side. The burst is excellent. He caught it might have been like a 2 or 3 yard drag and shot up the field and made it a 15, 20 yard play instead of it being like 6 or 7 yards for, the normal high school receiver. He's a legit D1 prospect, and he shows it every time he touches the ball.
Can't teach speed, fellas. So, like I
Hmm.
always say, everybody on the field says they run a 4.4 until you see a guy who actually runs a 4.4. And when you see Lex take off, when they get into ball, he runs a 4.4. So, I'm interested to see how this. I'd heard that Penn State really, really, really wanted him before he committed to South Carolina, and then he went committed to South Carolina, and they're obviously not done going after him hard here.
Not giving up on him.
Yeah.
Not giving up on him. Not until that pen meets the paper.
Bone, joint, and muscle injuries, they can happen without warning. That's why UPMC Orthopedic Care provides convenient walk-in access at our injury clinics throughout the region. No appointments are needed, just walk in for expert evaluation and exceptional care by our team of orthopedic specialists. Clinics are located in Carlisle, Lidditz, Harrisburg, and Enola. For directions and hours or to learn more, visit upmc.com/injuryclinic.
Another bit of news to touch on, talking about another Penn State commit is, I believe this week, Dan Sostek had an update on Kevin Brown, who's really the top junior on a lot of people's boards in the state. Offensive lineman for Harrisburg on his foot injury. We know he broke his foot, I think, after the first game of the season, practice, and going into the Bishop McDevitt game. He's been out ever since. Gleaning Dan's story, it looks like he's going to be out at least a while longer. And I mean, it could be, I guess, it could be the whole season. So I don't know, big guy like that, man. You break your foot, definitely don't want to come back too early, re-break it. You might have to start having some problems, and especially as talented as he is.
Yeah, you gotta take your future and your longevity first, and your health and your safety first. Being on Harrisburg sidelines, seeing like how his role has shifted. Um, you know, just being a vocal leader of that group and being animated and in the way he is on the sidelines. Obviously it sucks that he's not playing for the Cougars, but he is just as much a leader on the sideline as he has been in games.
So that's kind of some breaking news we've had across Penn Live. We've had some great storylines through the first half of the year. We talked about some of those last week. I'll say too, another great story to watch here, and they're getting ready to kind of run a gauntlet. Is CD East now here for you folks who are listening. The center part of the state, coached by Lance Dean. Lance Dean trains Micah Parsons, uh, trained Abdul Carter, a couple other guys. Good young coach. I think he's still just 29 years old, guys. Um, City East is now off to 8-0. They play in the Mid-Penn Commonwealth. Now, I think the next 3 weeks, I think, might be State College and some combination of State College, then McDevitt or Harrisburg, and then, one of those two. But I think they still have to play State College, McDevitt, and Harrisburg. So that's kind of the buzzsaw of it. 7-0. I think I said 8-0. They're 7-0.
Yeah, 7-0, and I think that might be the first time in school history that they are 7-0.
It is.
Now,
It is.
mind you, the rest, like you were saying, the rest of the schedule gets really dicey. You have a state college team that's as tough as anyone, and then of course you have Bishop McDevitt and Harrisburg to close out. I believe in that order: State College, McDevitt, Harrisburg, the regular season finale. So this is where it gets like super real for CD East. I think we all knew that they were going to be pretty good this year. I don't know if I quite had them at 7-0, but it's going to be fun to see. Like this is where it gets real for sure.
I think so. I'm be honest with you. I'm not sure that they're the favorite in any of those games, right? But I also think they're good enough to win any of those games. So when you look at it, they're a feel good story. If they come out of that stretch 1-2, it's okay. 2-1, pretty darn good. 3-0, holy cow. 0-3, you don't want to see them go 0-3, right? Because then that kind of sucks the
Yeah,
life out of the season a little bit, maybe. So
3-0 would be eye popping.
3-0 would be wow,
Yeah,
for that group. It's been a great story so far. That probably one of the bigger surprises. I don't think.
especially with Jared Porter out, right?
Yeah,
You weren't sure what the outlook goes when you lose a guy like that. Jared Porter is one of the best football players in the state, and you have that next man up, and well, that next man up is Leon Parson breaking
yeah.
Chase Edmonds' school records. So it's been such a journey this year for CDEs to just hold the ship together and find ways to win these close games.
You covered their game against Central Dauphin. That was first of all, it was a crazy game to watch on TV because I had it on with the fog, and there was a time when Central Dauphin East was trying to throw into the fog, and I don't even know how you could see anybody down the field. They were just like throwing into nothing. You know,
Yeah.
they ended up winning that
Uh,
game, but it was an interesting game.
It started out in a little bit of disaster. Andrew Kurtz was, I think, fantastic for Central Dauphin. Within the first minute and 36 seconds, he intercepted Damaj Jallo, and then he actually caught a 40-yard receiving touchdown on a flea flicker. Gavin Kirkpatrick tosses it over to Mark Lebo. Lebo ends up finding a wide open Kurtz for a 40-yard score just like that. Instantly, CD East is playing down 7-0. And they were shut out in the second half. Central Dolphins defense has been super super shining for that group this season. CD East got their it's a 21-20 score, but they got that 21 on a blocked field goal from Zach Brown. So they were at the 2-yard line, Central Dauphin. They have a touchdown called back. It was an illegal procedure. They get up, start a 24-yard field goal attempt, and it gets blocked by Zach Brown and actually recovered and returned for a touchdown by Abu Thali. And that was the difference there. And, you know, they had just enough to get by because, CD had missed extra point on another PAT block later. Just crazy game. It looked like Halloween out there with the fog. You ever play Silent Hill? Like the game in the fog, like it looked like Silent Hill. You couldn't like I had to I put the camera away at a certain point. Like it was hard to see. So passing in that was certainly a choice. I can't imagine trying to pass in that fog.
So it'll be interesting, guys. We're going to see. We're going to find out. We know that CD East is a good team. Like I said, I don't think they'll be favorites in any of these next three, but I think they could win any of these next three too. So be interesting. I tell you what, guys. Another thing we saw this week, Saturday, was a 4 overtime game. All college, Cal College, and St. Joe's Prep. Cal wins it. They go for two in the fourth overtime. Wins it 35-34. Joey O'Brien with kind of like a crazy like throwback design play where he scrambled and just kind of threw it to the end zone, and one of their guys caught it for the win. They came in Harrisburg and really humbled Harrisburg week one, and we thought, wow, this team looks like the real deal because even though Harrisburg's had its adversity, despite its adversity, it's got athletes, and now we see they beating St. Joe's is something.
It's serious business.
Yeah. So Evan, they are what you thought they were.
Yeah, I think we all thought they were gonna like we said when they were 2-0 or 3-0. It was a very impressive, validating 2-0 or 3-0, whatever it was. They've been beating very good teams, and obviously St. Joe's Prep. Like you know, I don't think this is they won the battle, not the war. I think they'll meet again in that District 12 6A final. So in a game like that, I think that'll be a must watch because it seems like they're almost destined to go at it again. I think it'll be round two in District 12 6A final. I'm sure if you ask those guys, it's big win right now, but it's hard to beat a good team twice. And I think in a few weeks we're gonna have this matchup again, and it'll be super interesting. Gavin Sidwar, Rutgers commit. I spoke with him after they played Harrisburg. Talking about how he wasn't satisfied. No one else was satisfied with how past seasons have gone. I think they've been kind of waiting for something like this moment of beating St. Joe's Prep. So Sidwar, Rutgers commit, threw 266 yards, 4 touchdowns. Obviously, led that game-winning 2-point conversion in quadruple overtime. I can't imagine covering 4 overtimes. That's like a little much on the heart, a little much on the stat sheet too. I always bring like a spare stat sheet
But
just in case things get crazy.
they had a always make up fake alternate podcast for our guys. Rymir, like Dan should be like pump the brakes because like Dan Sostek is like a contrarian. You guys ever notice that? Like everything, Dan is the ultimate contrarian. Like last night, I texted him. I said, "My guy Juju's going off. Juju Smith-Schuster had 7 catches for 130 yards." And then he started explaining to me how he wasn't really having a good game. I said, "Yes, Dan, you're right. If he wouldn't have made all those good plays, he wouldn't have good numbers."
Hey, if you have 100 yards, you're doing
Well, if he would
something
have had
right.
that 50-yard catch, it wouldn't have been a good game. I'm like, yeah, he would have made that good play, Dan. I love Dan though. He's funny. He is.
He doesn't like ice cream.
But
He doesn't like ice cream.
Evan.
What
Also, he says ice cream's overrated. Who says something
Oh,
like that?
Oh
now
god.
Evan's thing is Rymir. This guy, if I had an alternate podcast for him, I'd call it proper preparation with Evan Wheaton because he is super OCD. Like
Oh yeah,
I
I'm
think we're
nuts.
just scratching the surface of like the levels of OCD Evan has.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've never been diagnosed with OCD, but I guess I've never.
Oh, you definitely
I don't
are.
know.
Like
I
worrying about the stat sheets like that. I bet he would. You might hyperventilate if he ran out of stats.
Hey man, Altoona was this close to taking McDevitt to overtime. A lot of people think that might be a blowout. I say bring an extra stat sheet, pal. You never know. You never know.
Cumberland Valley and Central Dauphin had a famous game a couple years ago in the playoffs where they played 7 overtime. So
7 overtimes?
yeah,
That's too many. I'm sorry. That's too
I'm fairly
much.
certain it's 7 overtime.
In the game.
That's not okay.
Epler might have been in the house for that one. Gotta look that up.
7 overtimes, man. That's not okay. That's like when like Rocky and Drago are like fighting each other, and that one point they're looking at each other after like 24 rounds, like, "What's your problem, man? Why won't you stay down?" That's what that reminds me of.
I think it was 2015.
I couldn't do that.
Like the year before I got here. Yeah, that was crazy. So that game finished 62-61 was the final. But the crazy thing about it was the regulation it ended 13-13.
What I want to know is what time did that game end?
Nope.
Past midnight? Had to be.
Well, I think they played it during the day, and it was a District 3 4A title game. After 4 quarters, it was 13-13. This was in 2015. It was 13-13 after 4 quarters, and it ended 62-61.
I guess during the day it's not as bad, but boy, I remember the first week of the season here. Like I got done with LaSalle at Harrisburg, drove to Connecticut right after from that game, and this man Dan was still covering a quadruple header of football, and it's like, man, I drove from like the Harrisburg area, PA, to New Haven, Connecticut, and in that time, Dan's just at it covering
Prospect was
football.
still at the game. So
Nuts,
proper
just nuts.
preparation with Evan Wheaton. We got to
Proper preparation
like
with Evan
Evan can
Wheaton.
go through different things each week where you got to make sure you know prepare. So
Strap a GoPro to myself and show you my crazy levels of just making sure all the boxes are checked off and what I try to do every night for covering football and this and that.
I think wasn't it one night where your pens wouldn't work that you were freaking out. He was like,
Oh, dude.
pens wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, this is why I'm like a crazy person because like my first 3 pens all like just it was freezing out and like they just weren't working. So I was down to my 4th string pen.
Pens don't.
First string pen.
I was in a Manheim Township game where it was so cold outside. My phone didn't want to hardly work, and my pens were not working. So.
Yeah, and like I use my pens on my running stat sheet, and like they weren't working, and my anxiety starting to kick in. I'm like, oh my god, like nothing's working, everything's horrible, and so I just I must have something OCD or something.
Rymir just dropped. He had a hard out, folks. He's got to go Cedar Cliff to
He's gone. That's it.
write about wrestling. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, Evan. So, I mean, LaSalle College looking like the real deal there in 6A. Gavin Sidwar's looking like.
He's looking
Yeah, I
like the
saw
real
that
deal
the other
too.
day. I mean, he might be one of the, like we do the All PA Player of the Year. He might be one of the front runners for it. You know, I don't know that anybody's really run away from it run away with it on the statewide level yet. Um, when they're 6, 7, and 0 now.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of season left, right? We're heading into week 8. You got 3 more weeks of regular season, and again, who knows? Maybe those two teams meet up again in the District 12 6A final, and it's hard to beat. I'll be real impressed they can beat St. Joe's Prep a second time. To reach the state final. That'd be something else.
Well, look, we're going to do a little bit shorter week this week. I did want to bring something else up. I just want to check the latest update. I was actually texting with his uncle last night. Um, last year was a very difficult year in Pennsylvania with kids, injuries, um, and things of that nature. Um, and we had, unfortunately, one kid lost his life out at Jersey Shore. Um, we had another kid situation this past week. Rochester running back Mason Carter. Like I said, I talked to his uncle last night. Carter Mason, I'm sorry. Carter Mason. Um, Talked to his uncle on the phone last night. We texted. He got a got hit in the head against Shenango, um, and come off the field. It really wasn't that severe looking hit. He collapsed. According to his GoFundMe, he has a brain bleed. Um, he has been, according to Beaver County Times, been running a fever. Um, his uncle said last night he really hasn't woken up. He's kind of picked his head up and responded to a few things, sort of as they moved him and stuff. They did take him off the breathing tube. He's breathing on his own, but obviously a very serious situation there. Uh, so want to, I always want to close and say, a make sure you're looking, keeping up with your kids. They get hit in the head or something, take it seriously. His uncle was telling me he had a previous concussion earlier this year. They think, um, so you know, but very scary situation. Um, and obviously, you hope he comes out of that out there. We're sending our love and prayers and good thoughts, vibes, whatever you guys send out. Send that out to him. Like I said, I've been through a cancer battle and wasn't very religious before then, but I had to pray for me about some things and had some experiences around that made me believe in the power of prayer and at least in the power of our conscious thoughts as one in a positive way, making an impact. So, Evan, I don't know what you could say about that, but I'm not even, we haven't really discussed it. We usually discuss
Yeah.
everything in our team meetings, but it's a scary situation. Praying for that kid and his family.
Yeah, and if you're not, the praying type, the good vibes type, any type of thoughts, anything, whatever you believe in, or energy, this and that, it's a family you could use it, and a community you could use it. And like you said, Brian, last year was about as hard a year as I've ever seen in my time doing this. And it's you're never ready for those types of situations. When they come, it's just so hard to deal with. So it's a family um that's a family that's going through it right now.
Yep, they have a GoFundMe up. It's doing really well to help kind of support the mom and the sibling. I think siblings. Um, and so you can look that up again. It's Carter Mason. Uh, we have a story too on Penn Live, and we'll be keeping you guys updated on that as it goes through. Hopefully, we get he gets woken up and gets going soon, and we don't, nothing but the best there. That's the not fun side of reporting high school football, Evan. But I tell you what, man, I hate to end it on a somber note, but you know,
Oh, yeah. I mean, life doesn't take a back seat, right?
yep,
These things, you're never ready for these types of things, but they're things that need to be, you know, it- football is an unforgiving sport, and it's not always sunshine and rainbows,
yep. What are you writing about this week, Evan?
Uh, well, I'm looking a lot of boys soccer heating up. You look at girls soccer too from Dan's side. Northern being unbeaten now on the girls side is pretty tough. There's a lot of it's getting to the nitty gritty for the non-football sports. Field hockey as well. Mid-Penn tennis just wrapped up. Golf ramping up. A lot of postseason stuff getting underway for those sports. So as football winds down with the regular season, we got some other sports and other talent around the Mid-Penn that are gearing up. Hershey boys soccer, Camp Hill, obviously those guys trying to pursue some state titles. We had, I think, what, four district champions in boys soccer alone last year. I know it was very, very wild year. And then Camp Hill, who, didn't win a district title, won a state title. So, hey, I mean, I guess I'd rather win a state title than anything else, right? But so it's getting real interesting over there. Gettysburg had a heck of a year going as long as they did without a loss. Um, I'm not sure if he's still leading the Mid-Penn in scoring. Gage Sauserman, heck of a year, um, leading the Mid-Penn in scoring. And there's going to be teams I don't even think to name here, but it's getting down to the nitty gritty right now as teams are trying to solidify their postseason spots.
Yeah, field hockey and soccer in Central PA to Mid Penn has kept us busy the last couple of years. So be interesting to see what we have there. Again, we're getting down, guys. Week seven's in the books. Make sure you check out Penn Live. We got a list again this week of last week's top performance statewide. Not another list like it in the state, Evan. We had over 220 names on it this week. You can go there and vote until by the time this podcast comes out. The player of the week fan vote will probably be up. But if you just want to see what's going on and how people are doing, that Matt Bodner kid from Notre Dame Green Pond, we gotta get him on here. He threw for like another 460 something yards. But we got that. We got the weekly All Star teams for all the sports that Evan and Dan Sostic and Eric Kepler and Tom DeMartini do, and Rymir, and we're getting ready to head towards the postseason. We have a lot of stuff on Penn Live. We were talking about some big stories this week too. Um, so make sure you check that out. Evan, tell them how to find you on social media, my guy.
Evan Wheaton on Twitter.
And I'm at Sports by B Linder on Twitter. Guys, PennLive.com. Megan will be in Arkansas. Hopefully she comes back. Sometimes you go down to those rural areas and it ends up being a movie years later about your mysterious disappearance. So we hope she makes it back from Arkansas, uh, and whatnot. We'll update you guys on that whether she survived next week. So,
Hopefully she does, because I'll always say it. We literally could not figure out how to use a Nintendo Switch without her at Football Media Day. So if she doesn't come back, we're gonna have to get real creative.
Bone, joint, and muscle injuries, they can happen without warning. That's why UPMC Orthopedic Care provides convenient walk-in access at our injury clinics throughout the region. No appointments are needed, just walk in for expert evaluation and exceptional care by our team of orthopedic specialists. Clinics are located in Carlisle, Lidditz, Harrisburg, and Enola. For directions and hours or to learn more, visit upmc.com/injuryclinic.